Okay, so let's talk about reclassification. Everything is changing right now. In case you don't know what reclassification is, let's say you're in the class of 2024, but then you decide you want an extra year. You reclassify to the class of 25. Essentially, instead of 4 years, you get 5 years to complete high school. That's basically all it is. In the past, it used to be all about academics. It used to always be about whether you got the grades or not. And if you didn't, you were held back a year. That's really what the old terminology was, is if you didn't get the grades, you were held back. You had to redo that whole year just to get the academics right. Now, it's all about athletics. The whole ideal really is to get bigger and stronger. That's the whole ideal. Bigger and stronger because of all the factors that are going on in college. College is a completely different world now. It is now NIL money, transfer portals. Everybody is looking for a spot now, and it's getting harder and harder. Colleges, I don't believe, are really doing redshirt freshmen anymore. That's what it's looking like. That's really what it's looking like. And so now you've got to be more prepared and ready than ever before just to try to get a college basketball scholarship or even a football scholarship. But I mean, when you look at it though, there's really only a couple reasons to reclassify, and there's a couple reasons not to reclassify. And I'm just going to go over them the way I've been seeing them. You know, if you're going to reclassify and you're a player that, let's say you're in the ESPN top 100 and you're vying for a position, let's say at a major school, then I could possibly see you reclassifying. If you're a top 10 high school player and you're projected to be in the NBA, a draft lottery type of situation, first round draft, you might be able to reclassify and get a better position, meaning you get another year and you get into a different draft class where your player profile fits better and it means more money. But that's extremely, extremely rare. For a lot of players, though, they're reclassifying to get bigger and stronger. And the question is why do you need 5 years to do what's been done in 4 years for decades? That's one question I have. Why do you need 5 years to do what's been done in 4 years for decades? I can tell you countless stories of players that have taken the reclass, and then what happens is they can't play their senior year. Why? Because a lot of state associations have these age limits. A lot of them are 19 years old, and you get to your senior year, and before your senior season is up, you're turning 19 and you can't play anymore. Goodbye district play, goodbye state tournament, goodbye all of that. And so now they're having to go to prep schools, and prep schools are popping up all over the place now. And it's all because of all these different situations going on after the pandemic. The whole rotation was messed up during the pandemic. College players were given an extra year, and that basically set everybody back who was coming up after them. I mean, reclass was a trend before the pandemic, but it really took off after the pandemic. Because now it was like, okay, well, we better reclass so we can get a chance to get those spots that were lost during that year. And so everything has been turned upside down. NIL money entered the scene now, and that's another factor, whether players sign with a school or not. NIL collectives are now paying players. These are the guys that basically were the bagmen of old that used to pay recruits under the table, things like that. They were basically breaking NCAA rules, and now they're NIL collectives. They're all legal now under NCAA rules. So it's quite an interesting world we're in now. all because of what has happened in 2020. That's really been one of the big culprits as to why we're in this situation. So then you enter in the prep schools and they're saying, well, hey, you're not going to be able to play your senior year, so why don't you come play with us? We'll get you all the offers, and we'll get you in front of all these coaches and things of that nature. And so that's taken off. And now those players are leaving high school to go play with prep schools. But really, why should you reclass? I've seen a few videos and some give examples such as injuries. Now, if you lose a whole season because of an injury, I get that. Okay, I truly get that. You lose a year because of injury and you can't play. So, yeah, okay. All right, I get that. I understand that. That makes sense. Some, because of academics, of course. Well, you need academics in order to even get a scholarship. NCAA, I believe, is a 2 point or better. I think it's 2.5 or 2.3. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. But that's what you need just to get into the NCAA, along with a few other things. Division 1. Division 2 is 2.0. So you need the academics no matter what. But again, I get back to the question. Why do you need 5 years to do 4? The answer I always keep getting is to get stronger. Well, another example I get is, if you're 5'6" as a freshman, and by your senior year, you grow like a foot. Okay. And now you are 6'6", 6'7", 6'8". Well, that changes everything as far as a college player profile. That gives you way more opportunities, but you need that extra year to get those skills and get used to your body and yada, yada, yada. I get that. But you know what? That's pretty rare. In the 5-6 years that I've been covering high school basketball, I've only seen maybe one player really do that as far as growth. The most I've seen kids on average grow is about maybe 2 to 4 inches at best. So it really doesn't change that much. It's pretty rare to see a player grow a foot over 4 years. It's just pretty rare. So I think that's kind of a very rare case to reclass, honestly. But again, I get back to the question. Why do you need 5 years to do what's been done in 4? Does it mean that you're not working hard enough? You're not getting that muscle? Because they keep saying get bigger and stronger. Get bigger and stronger, right? Well, are you lifting weights? Because you can get 5 to 10, 15 pounds in the gym in a month during the summer. And really, I think it creates complacency. When you think about it, oh, I have a year left. I got another year, and, you don't do anything really with it until it's almost up. And then all of a sudden you're working hard. That's human nature. And I think it creates complacency. I mean, you got 4 years to do this and that's it. You really only have 4 years to do this and it's it. But now we keep extending it and extending it. So maybe it's a lack of love of the game and that's why you're reclassing. Maybe it's because your parents want it more than you do. I see that a lot. I see a lot of kids who just don't seem very happy out there on the basketball court. I can only, in the last 5-6 years of covering high school basketball, I've seen maybe 3 or 4 kids that I could say really love the game no matter what. They would work out every day, no matter what, to get better. They would ask anybody for advice, criticism, the whole 9 yards. They would do anything to get better, and they used every resource available to them. But I see a lot of kids that look the same every year. Every year, they look pretty much the same. They may get a little more bigger, a little stronger, but that's about it. I don't see reclassing doing much for them. I can tell you stories of kids that have gone 4 years and their freshman year it looked like they weren't going to be much of anything. They could barely walk and chew gum at the same time. But here they are getting D1 offers all over the place because they got better every year. And it means they put in a lot of work. I've seen kids, though, do the exact opposite. And so I'm saying, why do you need 5 years to do what's been done in 4? Is it because you're scared to compete? Are you scared to compete? That's really the question that I have to ask. Okay? Because no matter what, you're going to play the same kids once you get to college, if you do get to college. That's the bottom line. You're going to play the same kids, and they're going to have a year's worth of experience over you. All right? That's the bottom line. That's the bottom line. I mean, and then you got the prep schools making all these promises, telling you, hey, you know what? If you sign with us, we'll get you all these offers that you couldn't get in high school, because high school is broken. It's not working. Okay? And so now you got all these players leaving. You've got these prep schools that are very well endowed as far as money, and they do a very nice job. They do a really good job. Honestly, they do. But then you got these prep schools that look like AAU with housing, online. They've got online courses and things like that. But honestly, is that really a good education, an online for high school? Is that really a good education? And they're going to, of course, ask you for a lot of money. $5,000, $10,000, $18,000, $20,000. I mean, for that kind of money, you could go to a private school, a well-established private school, and pay that kind of tuition, get a much better education, much better resources. You could do that. And so I have to ask, why are you putting yourself in these situations? Because as soon as you reclass, and most people are doing it in 7th and 8th grade, by the time you hit that senior year, man, you might hit that age limit, and these state associations are going to say, yeah, you can't play. So then now mom and dad have to go get a loan out of the 401k, or they got to have to take money out of the 401k, or go over to the credit union or the bank and get $10,000 out, and they got to make that monthly payment. So again, are you putting in the work in 4 years? Because you can do it. It's been proven. That's what I'm saying. And, it gets crazier and crazier. We got to look in the mirror. A lot of players aren't looking in the mirror, honestly. I just saw a player committed to a D2 school, 4,000-seat arena. It's in a conference that Derek White of the Boston Celtics played in. This is a D2 school, 4,000 or 5,000-seat arena. Good place. They've had a lot of players play overseas and in other places. And he decommits to go play for a prep school out of state. Because somehow, some way, I guess in a year, he's going to get more offers better than that. Is it a case of not facing adversity? And by the way, this kid probably wasn't going to crack the starting 5 of that D2 school. I'm just saying. Are people scared to face adversity? I mean, the real world, it's a whole different story. I see kids that are going from 2, 3 schools because they're not getting playing time. So then they reclass again. I've seen kids reclass at least twice. And then they can't play in high school. And then they're bouncing around prep schools. And then when they finally get to like a community college, they're on their 3rd or 4th community college. I mean, the insanity that's going on out there. It is just getting crazy. Eventually, you're going to have to face adversity. It's just getting wild. I'm just blown away by what's going on now. Everybody trying to get a spot, but eventually you got to look at yourself as a player, and you got to determine whether you're actually a college player or not. You got to see if you fit that college profile. Okay? That's the bottom line. That's the bottom line. I can tell you about other kids. 4 years, like I said before, one kid, Chapin High School, El Paso, he played with KJ Lewis, an Arizona star, and now he's getting all kinds of D1 offers. 4 years, he did it in 4 years. But he fit the college profile. He's at least 7 foot. He fit the profile. Another kid, he reclassed. He can't play this year for his high school. He's got to go play for a prep school. But he already has 10, 11, 12 D1 offers. He could have pretty much gone to college right now and been on a college roster if he hadn't reclassed. He was going to be good either way. He fit the college profile. That's the thing. If you fit that college profile, you don't need to do all this reclassing. You just need to get in the gym and work every day and be serious about it, not be lackadaisical, and hit those weights, big weights. big results. That's the truth. But we keep looking for outs, and we keep looking for hustlers out there. Hustlers who are telling you everything under the sun. And it's funny. You'll see a kid who is a junior, no offers, no nothing, going into his senior year, still no offers after he graduates, and then he goes to a prep school. He gets a couple offers all of a sudden, and it's the usual suspects. Some of these prep schools, and this is funny about these prep schools, is they'll get a couple college coaches to play along, and they'll announce offers, but these kids never actually sign with these schools. It's the funniest thing. And you just kind of know, yeah, it looks a little sketchy. And so now we're playing all these little games. Parents, in my opinion, are getting suckered into a lot of these fly-by-night prep schools, and they're paying a lot of money, and they're not getting anything in return. That ROI, return on investment. That's kind of the way I see it. A lot of parents are over here reclassing their kids, thinking they need to get bigger and stronger instead of just getting in that gym and working and seeing if they can do it. You just, first of all, got to see what college coaches really want. They want specific types of players at specific sizes. I've talked to quite a few, and they're always looking for players above 6 foot. If you're a 6 foot post in high school, you're probably not going to get to college except for NAIA. That's the bottom line. If you don't get some guard and small forward skills and you're 6'6", you're probably going to end up at the NAIA level. That's the truth. If you're a tall player, 7 foot, and you get a little bit of a consistency of an outside shot, yeah, you're going to be recruited heavily. If you're 6'4", look, if you can do all the things and you're athletic, yeah, you're going to get recruited heavily. But if you're 5'10", man, you better be able to hit 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10, or you're not going to have a chance, honestly. That's really what it comes down to. You start dropping to the lower levels. And there's no shame in going to D3 or NAIA or D2. I mean, D2 is really solid. D3 is tough. Even my local NAIA school's got 7-footers now. They had a kid that had a 50-inch vertical about 2 years ago. It was insanity. And that's the point I'm getting at. It's going to get tougher and tougher. So, yeah, you got to get in the gym and work and get a sense of urgency. That's the bottom line. I personally think that Reclass can work in certain instances and circumstances, but honestly, it all comes back to competing and getting in there, getting disciplined and working. Because if you don't learn to overcome adversity, when you get out in the real world, and let's say you work for a boss and you don't like the way he's treating you, what are you going to do? You're going to quit and keep going to job after job after job? Or let's say you're an entrepreneur and you're trying to find out where your next dollar's coming from. What are you going to do? Are you going to quit, or are you going to deal with the adversity? That's the bottom line. We got to stop running away from adversity. You got to go through it. You've got to go through it. I hand out workouts all the time that could benefit players. It's been proven to benefit players. It's workouts that NBA players, superstars have used. And people just kind of like, well, whatever. I'm like, okay, well, it's your loss. You know, that's the points I'm making. If you really want it and you have a love for the game, you can do it in 4 years. You can truly do it in 4 years. You can overcome the obstacles. You can face adversity. You can get through it. Don't blame everybody. Now, this trend is going to continue. Honestly, it's going to keep on going. And the associations are probably going to have to make some adjustments. You might see the NFHS, that's the National Federation of High Schools, that governs all the associations. You might see them start doing an NCAA type model, maybe a D1 of top high schools around the country, D2, that sort of thing. You might start seeing that. State associations might have to change the age limit to 20, but then you got complications and legal matters. I mean, 20-year-old boys mingling in the halls with 15-year-old girls. Yeah, I think you might have some problems. So there's all kinds of things to really think about there. And we really need to get back to facing adversity. That's the bottom line. facing adversity. You can do it in 4 years. It's been proven for decades. Now, I understand if you've got to reclass because of injury, grades, or something like that, or maybe you're going to grow a foot. I get that. But let's be honest. You can do it if you really, truly want to and you have a love for the game. So, I mean, that's just my take for this week. I think I'm going to talk about LeBron and Bronny plus JJ Redick. I think I'll talk about the Lakers because that's really interesting. As Bronny just was drafted 55th in the second round of the NBA draft. And that's going to be a fascinating story. But I'm going to do that for another week. And I'm going to get some more details and things like that and give you my thoughts on that. So I thank you for watching. And if you're a player, I thank you for playing. So I will talk to you next time. Later.